Hey, what's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, taking a look at the Vanquest Personal Pocket Maximizer Husky 2.0. Not to be confused with the Slim 2.0, which we've checked out on the channel previously, or the EDC Maximizer, which has both a Slim and a Husky version as well. This pouch is ultra well built though, has a ton of great organization, and is pretty affordable at only $27. Now it's called a Pocket Maximizer, but at 6.5 inches tall by 4.75 inches wide, gonna be just a little bit too big to drop in your normal pant pockets. This is made for more cargo pant pockets or your jacket pocket, or even how I use it, just tossing it into a larger bag like a backpack or sling bag. And so again, 6.5 inches tall, 4.75 inches wide, about an inch thick unloaded, but as you can see, tons of room to expand that. How it's currently loaded out, we're a little bit over 2 inches at this point, and so lots of room to expand there once again. Now, Cordura on the exterior material, available in a few different colors. I got this one in a going gear, so I didn't get to choose, but I probably would have chose this wolf gray anyway. I really like the way this color looks. They have it available in black though, coyote tan, wolf gray, and red. So I'll make sure to link to that product listing down in the description if you're interested in checking it out. But again, Cordura on the exterior and YKK zippers, full clamshell opening. Nice kind of simple utilitarian design here. We have color matched Velcro here on the top that's about 3 inches wide by 1.75 inches tall. You can elect not to use that, or you can slap your favorite patch on there, or even another organizer type thing like a pen loop or something like that. Underneath that, we have the Vanquest Tough Built gear, so pretty minimal branding, but that's also sewing in more Velcro on the interior of this pocket. This is one of those flat item pockets that you see on a lot of these style of pouches. Now, one thing I like about Vanquest is they're a little bit more roomy than a lot of the other ones. It doesn't seem like it right now because I have this so fully loaded out, but with it not so fully loaded out, you can fit some thicker items in this front pocket. And even now, fully loaded out, I have my fingers in there, which are probably a little over 1/4 inch thick, and no problem putting an item like that in there. And so I do like that aspect of it. Of course, the less space you use on the interior, the more roomy that's gonna be. But I like having that pocket, and it's also not super visible. So if you are putting cash or receipts or information that you don't want being visible, like when you have the mesh net ones, you can't see what's actually inside there, which is another nice thing. Before we get to the interior, we'll take a look at the rest of the exterior. Have the nylon belts here, so with the Molly or Powell's webbing. You have some loops on the bottom, which you can thread a small thin item through. So if you have like a short pen or something you want to keep on the exterior, you can do that. You can also use this to attach some straps to here on the bottom. And then we have our grab handle, which is another section of 1 inch thick nylon that's been sewn in half. So nice grab handle if you want to use that for carrying it, or just for pulling it out of that bag or sling bag. So with that said, YKK zippers, color match paracord on those as well, and nice and smooth, full clamshell deployment on this one. So we're gonna be able to open it up and see all of the contents all at once. Now I'm gonna run through the gear in here somewhat quickly, but if you want more information, I'll try to link to everything in the description if you're looking for any of these individual items. But we're just gonna pile them up on the table, see how much I was able to load up in here, and then we'll measure out these elastic loops. I believe there's 16 loops in total. Now behind those loops, we have the 210 denier high-vis ripstop nylon, and then we have these pockets back here that are basically the full size of one size, so about 6 inches tall in usable space, and maybe 4.25 to 4.5 inches in width in usable space. So in the back pocket, I just have a Write in the Rain notebook. There's also a 1 inch loop of paracord on either side that you can attach to one of these keychain tethers. It's a double-sided one, so you can attach it to both of those if you want to use it to kind of keep this from opening if you're not going to open it up on a flat surface, or for organizing your keys, or remove it entirely. Now I don't often use these, so I haven't decided what I'm going to do with that one. I usually just leave them in there so I don't lose them, but I don't actually usually attach anything to them, so I don't have anything attached to it now. Now going from left to right, we have a Rogan USA pry bar that came from one of those recent mystery boxes he did, really nice pry. We have a Big Eye Design bit bar too. This is one with the slide out storage for 8 bits, and then 2 different angles of driver depending on your kind of leverage point and access to the screw. We have a Soul Belt Mark Smith permanent marker that is bolt action. This actually has an insert that you can change it to a regular pen, but this one's bolt action, has the channel name engraved on there. Really nice one. Always useful to have a permanent marker. WD-40 pen, and these are super useful. I hadn't seen them in a while, but recently saw them at my Home Depot, so picked up a handful of these. on the right side, that was all I had on the left side, so I didn't load that one out as much as I did the right side, but you can see a ton of gear over here on the right. So on the leftmost elastic loop, we have one of these little grabbers. I don't even know what they're called, but they're these little tiny grabbers that reach out and you can pick up small items that you drop or just can't pick up with your finger for whatever reason, but also nice for getting into small spaces. Kind of the same idea here with this telescoping magnet. I think this one gets up to about 3 feet or so, has a nice rubberized grip and a clip on it as well. Next to that, we have the Olight i3T Plus, and so nice little flashlight in OD green. This is the 2 AAA version. I believe the i5T is the 2 AA version, so I have both of those, but that's the i3T. We have a pair of Knipex pliers. These are the 5-inch, I want to say. Actually, I think they might be 4-inch pliers, and so obviously everyone knows Knipex. Moving on, we have the Milwaukee Fastback, a utility blade with a button lock, really popular one as well. This is also a little bit of duplication with yet another bit driver, and we have that with the Knipex as well, as we'll see. Just nice to have some duplication for some of those tools where maybe there's something on both sides that you need to use them for, and only having one is not as useful. These are a pair of foldable scissors. I forget the name of this brand. I think it starts with the C. You find them at like Walmart or Big Five in the camping section. They have a bunch of, I don't remember. I'll link to it if I can find it in the description. But they have a bunch of random little camping and outdoor gear. Have some random zip ties back here. I'm not even going to pull all those out. I think there's more, and maybe even some other sizes. Yeah, there's definitely more down there. And the Charge Plus Leatherman in G10. I don't think they make these G10 versions anymore, but you can definitely get one in titanium still. So they do make the Charge, obviously, just not the G10 versions, which there was, I think, 4 of them that went out to each different store. So now we have it fully unloaded minus those zip ties. Again, those back pockets are the full length of one side, so we're not going to measure those, but we have tons of elastic in here. On the left, we only have 1 row. On the right, we have 2 rows, but those middle rows have double layers, and so they're kind of usable differently. If you put a lot in the back layer, it can be a little bit tight in the front layer and vice versa, but depending on the thickness, you can use both in conjunction with each other. Now, the thicker strips you see here are about 2 inches wide. The thinner strips are 1 inch wide, so we're just going to measure how wide each loop is here. So on the back, we have about 2 1/8 of an inch here on the left, and then about 2 1/4 on the right. Now, I think this is probably going to vary from pouch to pouch. They're all going to be pretty similar, but just depends on where the seams are located. Maybe your left one is a hair bigger than the right one. Maybe the right one's a hair bigger than the left one. But you do see some variation pretty much with all pouches when we have these. I think they're intended to be about the same size. And so over here, we're a little bit over, again, 2 1/8 of an inch, and then here again about 2 1/4 inch, so basically identical to the left side for that back row. Moving on to the front row, we're about an inch and 1/8 on that first loop. Our second loop is a little bit over an 1 1/8, not quite a quarter though. Then we have an 1 1/4 on this third one, and about an 1 1/8 again on that fourth one. There's a little bit of variation on the sizes on the right side front panel, and so this one's about 3/4 of an inch. The second one also about 3/4 of an inch. So these are going to be great pen and pen size object loops. This one I really like, and so it's a little bit wider at 1.5 inches, but I like the placement too. You can see it kind of overlaps with the center space, which often ends up being dead space. So you put 2 items, thicker items in the back, that center space usually has a lot more room than the outer sections, and so this is a really nice placement for a loop. I actually kind of wish they did the same thing on this side, just so you get a little bit more of usable space and you can kind of stack those up without bulking the pouch out as much. Now, last loop over here is about 1.5 inches wide, and then on the bottom, these are nice, even if you don't end up using them. Like, I didn't use this for any individual items. Some of the other items parked there if there were longer items. But the reason I like it is it does give you the option to do 2 short items on top and one on bottom. Or if you just want to do shorter items, that's fine too. But it just gives you a little bit more availability and organization. Even if you don't end up using it, it's just nice to have. And I think that would have, again, been kind of nice to have on the opposite side as well, just because you don't have to use it, but it is nice. Also worth noting, you can see how it kind of curves down here at the bottom. So the top of these is a little bit wider than the bottom. So it's gonna be hard to get an exact measurement. I'm just gonna measure from the top though, about 1.25 inches on the first one, and probably closer to about 1 inch on the bottom now. 1.5 inches on the second one, another 3/4 inch. Yeah, just a hair under 3/4 inches actually. So that's a little bit narrower than those top ones. And then this one's about 7/8 of an inch wide. So almost a full inch, but just not quite. And that's on the top again. So a little bit less than that there on the bottom. But a lot of really great options on this one in terms of organization. Can work for a lot of different type of kits. I went with tools. I actually usually use this more for just kind of regular EDC, but I just wanted to see what type of toolkit I could put together. Nice high-vis nylon that you can see a lot better now that we have everything out. That's a 210 denier. I just realized there was more zip ties back there. I'm like, what am I feeling? It's a 210 denier, high-vis ripstop nylon, and then again, those loops on the top, those 1-inch loops, YKK zippers. So really well built, lots of great organization. I really dig this pouch, and I think really affordable, especially compared to some of the options that we see, the American-made options. These ones are made in either Vietnam or Taiwan. Some of the materials are sourced here in America, like I think the zippers are made in America. I know the Cordura on the exterior is made in the USA. So some USA materials, but they do make these overseas to save a little bit of money, and that definitely saves you some money too, because these are only $27 versus similar pouches we see American made that are $50, $60 sometimes. So a really good price point on these. Now at the time I'm uploading it, I didn't mention in the beginning of the video because it's going to be over in just a few days anyway, but they're having their Labor Day sale until September 3rd of 2024. So I'll link to it in the description, but you do need a coupon code for that. And again, I'm not going to put it in the video since it's only relevant for a few days, but if you go to the homepage, they have it listed right at the top of the homepage as long as that sale is active. So if you're watching in the first couple of days, make sure to check for that because you can save a few more dollars off of this pouch. Would love to hear your thoughts on this one though, down in the comments below. As usual, if you enjoyed the video, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, joining the channel as a member. All help the channel out a ton, and I hope you have a great one. Take care.